New claims have been made about multiple cases of children being sexually exploited in Rotherham, with allegations that the police and council officials aren't taking the problem seriously. The findings come from a report by opposition Conservative councillors in the town who say they fear not enough action is being taken, although Rotherham Council and South Yorkshire Police dispute this. In 2014, the J report found numerous failings by police and council officials between 1997 and 2013, which led to 1,500 girls being abused, with many cases still being prosecuted today. The Labour Police and Crime Commissioner for South Yorkshire, Dr Alan Billings, says tactics used by abusers have changed.
It's very vague. It's full of untruths, I have to say. And also, they don't seem to know anything about what's going on in their own borough, in Rotherham, what the police are doing, what the social services are doing, what the National Crime Agency is doing. So I'm just amazed that anyone should be taking this seriously. It's a serious matter, but this is not a serious document.
Our Yorkshire and Humber reporter, Kevin Larkin, is in the village of Rawmarsh in Rotherham for us now. Kevin, you're with Emily Barley, the Conservative opposition leader on Rotherham Council.
Yes, good afternoon, Alex. That's right. Emily Barley is the author of the report, which has been released today. Emily, I guess just to begin with, can you tell us what you found and how you gathered this intelligence?
Yeah, so before the local elections in May, we heard quite a lot of persistent rumours that CSE was still a problem in Rotherham. So after the elections, we sort of set out to investigate and find out what was going on. We spoke to a lot of members of the community, people who live in Rotherham, people who run or own businesses in Rotherham. We spoke to people who work with children, youth workers and people like that. And what they told us is that CSE is still going on, and they gave us some specific examples of where and what.
And what happened when you provided that information to Rotherham Council and South Yorkshire Police as you did?
So for the most part, as far as we know, nothing happened. A lot of the times the things that we sent in weren't even acknowledged. There were a couple of occasions that something was done. So there's one example where the police said they'd investigated something, but they'd actually gone to the place we'd pointed out at 6 o'clock in the evening rather than after 10 at night, as we'd suggested. There was another case where we identified a child that was at risk, and it took sort of 3 months of nagging the council and being passed around lots of different people until anything was done about it.
And Dr Alan Billings, South Yorkshire Police and Crime Commissioner, has said your report is vague. The intelligence you provided wasn't concrete enough for the police to act on, and that your report was, in his words, full of untruths. I just wonder what you make of that. He also said that you don't know what's going on in the borough in terms of the work being done by the authorities.
It's really disappointing to hear Dr Billings say that. I don't think there's anything really vague about pinpointing a specific location at a specific time in the evening where girls are being picked up by older men. I don't think that's very vague. Also, you know, we've given everything that we can, that we've got. We're dealing with a problem where people are very reluctant to talk to anybody about what they're seeing. They're really worried about it. So yeah, vague, I don't really accept that. And untruths, no, that's wrong as well. And
tell me what is going on the streets of Rotherham that you've heard in these reports. Describe, you know, what the situation is, what's happening.
So we're hearing all the way through from things that look like grooming, so older men buying things like ice creams for children, giving them mobile phones, things like that, through to girls being picked up and taken to different places. We've heard reports of locations that we're told girls are being sold for sex from. These all have been reported to the police. And then on the other end, we've heard from youth workers and people who work with children, you know, that they're dealing with traumatised kids who have been through really awful stuff.
And one of the things we've heard is that this could have been resolved privately. South Yorkshire Police say they invited you to join their group that looks at all of this intelligence. Why did you go public? Because shouldn't this have been solved behind closed doors? Are you politicising this? Are you potentially putting some investigations at risk here?
First of all, we've been really careful not to publish any information. You'll notice I haven't said the locations on camera. We've been careful not to do that because we don't want to jeopardise any investigations. It would be great to go along to the meeting with the police. That would be lovely to see the internal workings of that. The reality is with this that we tried to do this sort of through the proper channels. We've asked for it to be included in scrutiny committees. We've sought meetings with people who were responsible for this. And we've been refused sort of at every turn. So we felt the only thing we could do was go public with it. And also it's really worrying that they'd want us to keep this behind closed doors and keep it private. We know that that's what's happened in Rotherham in the past and it really didn't work out very well. So we thought it was very important to say what we've seen.
Emily Barley will be keeping a close eye on this story. Thank you very much for talking to us. We have got some statements, Alex, from Rotherham Council and South Yorkshire Police. We have asked both of them on to camera to answer questions. So far they've declined. That invitation is still open to them. But we do have these statements. Rotherham Council says it takes all allegations of child abuse very seriously, including these ones. Independent inspectors Ofsted say children's services in Rotherham have, in their words, been transformed since 2014. And the intelligence is reviewed on a regular basis, and the council says not every allegation will be validated, and they're urging people to report suspicions. As for South Yorkshire Police, they say they're working through the detail of this report from the Conservatives here in Rotherham. They say, and I quote them, "We want to be absolutely clear, CSE remains a problem in Rotherham, as it does right across the country," and they say they are working tirelessly to bring people to justice and prevent harm. And as I said earlier, they have also invited Emily Barley and the other Conservatives in Rotherham to join their working group, which reviews all of this intelligence as well.